this idea of Jacksonville being at this like tipping point. You want to expand a little bit on what we spoke about on our onboarding call about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it goes back to the comment that I made about institutional capital, but one of the reasons that I thought this would be a great opportunity for myself personally and professionally was that I saw so many similarities between, the different neighborhoods in DC and sort of, micro examples, if you will. A more macro example would be in Tampa, where there are certain things that are coming together right now that I see in Jacksonville that we saw there. Having a large scale transformative project, we've got a few of those downtown, frankly, with what's going on in other places. Shad Khan and the Jaguars, Four Seasons under construction, likely future entertainment district down there. That by itself would be pretty amazing, but certainly with what we're doing around the central core, there are other developers that are doing some really great projects nearby too. In Tampa, there was sort of that groundswell that there was a lot of interest in doing things in areas like Jacksonville. Some projects that were planned and proposed just haven't kicked off yet. A lot of projects looking for capital out there. And then I'd be remiss to say that it's not just private investment, but what we saw as an example in Tampa was a significant amount of public investment. Mayor Buckhorn had, did a really amazing job of getting the waterfront in fantastic shape in downtown, and that's such an amenity with the Riverwalk and the investment around that. And the same thing's happening right now. We've got between Riverfront Plaza, what's going on where the Whole Foods is being built, the extension of the Riverwalk, then over to the shipyards, and then over to the stadium. That is just, it's, hundreds of millions of dollars of public investment. And we should talk about the Emerald Trail. That also has the ability to be incredible. Hogan's Creek, the work that's being done by Groundworks Jacksonville on Hogan's Creek, just so much public investment that's happening downtown. And you really have to have both of those things come together. And when you're at that point, and not to mention 500 people a week moving to Jacksonville and business friendly and everyone, great quality of life, you have all of that plus all this investment, then you're at the tipping point. And I think that's where Jacksonville is right now, downtown.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more, man. Like if you've lived in a couple of other cities, like you've had the good fortune of kind of like been in the thick of it 3 different times and like see the pattern recognition. I've had the good fortune of seeing it one time in my life, but it's really hard to argue against this idea that it looks like all the data points are all pointing towards this idea of like, man, we're looking at, if you want to think of a city like as a stock, I feel like we're looking at Apple right when they're coming out with the iPod. Right. And the iPhone and the iPad and all this stuff is still coming. And it's really, really exciting. And we, I think this is the part on the show where we like to remind people that a lot of the investments that we're talking about right now are $1 million investments. They're for accredited investors. But the way that, and that's like the $500 table at the Bellagio, but like the way that you can get in on the $5 table and put a chip in is invest in this like workforce housing stock around the urban core that's going to benefit from the economic windfall that all this happens. Property prices are going to increase. As median income increases, property prices increase, rent prices increase. So the single family workforce housing asset does really well. And if you want to do that, go to chatwithjwb.com to get that conversation started, because that's what JWB does.